Welcome everyone to the Into the Wild League, Week 4, Friday night doubleheader, Game 2. We have Mike Lowe, the UHL Commissioner, and Dr. Evel, and I have the honor and privilege of casting once again with my good friend Ken Sanity. How are you this evening, sir?
I'm doing great because it's not evening where I'm at. I know it's 10 p.m. for you. It's only 3 p.m. in the afternoon for me, and I'm ready to watch some good Hearthstone here in the Into the Wild League. And it's an interesting format we have this week. Players are able to bring one deck consisting of cards from the Mammoth season, one deck with consisting of cards from the Raven season, and finally one deck from the Kraken season. So that should be interesting. And they get to put in a weaponized pinata for
Optional.
funsies, right?
Yeah,
Optional
optional.
weaponized pinata. Which with the card like that, I think you want that. I think you want to play it in there. The meme value is really high, so that should be fun.
So as we talk through the games, you will find out that I'm a weaponized pinata hater. So
Oh,
we're going to be on opposite ends of the spectrum here. Why don't we just quickly go over the rules, the general rules for the Into the Wild League, just for those who are unfamiliar, and then we can quickly start game one.
sure, let's do that. The Into the Wild League utilizes the innovative format introduced by the United Hearthstone League. This is for those of you who are just joining us. Matches are played once per week in a best of 5 conquest format, where players are required to win with all 3 classes to achieve victory. Every other week, there will be a deck building challenge with unique rules. All matches use the Wild format. Players are required to bring all 9 classes, 3 per week. There are no bans. So this is week 4, I believe. Is this week 4?
It
Yes,
is
it
week forward.
is
Yeah.
week 4. So all the classes are available because up to this point, every player has brought all 9 classes. So this week, it's a class selection resets, and players are again free to choose from all 9 classes. So, yeah, let's get into it.
Very good. So I'm going to go ahead and give the signal. We have some interesting deck lineups as well. We won't spoil the surprise, and we'll reveal them as they queue up into game. I'm going to go ahead and signal. Perfect. So let's talk about weaponized pinata while we wait for the
Yeah.
game to start. So in the last game that I had the honor of casting, Chai brought a big priest with a
Hmm.
weaponized pinata in it, shadow essenced, got the pinata, and proceeded to lose. So, I kind of look at the card a little bit with some skepticism, but clearly players who are far more talented than I have done quite well with it. So don't listen to me, but
Well, I mean, it can't just fit anywhere, right? So, I mean, I guess that's a thing too. Like Big Priest, do you really want that instead of Barnes or with Barnes, right? And there is the RNG factor of the card, but um, I think for a format like Wild, it's just cool to see a new, different card that where you rely on just fate. Like there's no you, you may not get any value out of card, and you're just relying on pure luck to see what you get out. And I think that's what was cool. It makes the games very fun and interesting. But let's get right into this match. Mike Lowe playing Paladin and Eve going with Warrior.
yeah. So the warrior is from Year of the Raven, and the paladin is from looks like it is also from Year of the Raven. So we've got Duel of the Ravens going on here. Um, Maybe that was mislabeled because I do not believe Mysterious Challenger is from Year of the Raven. But we also have the Kangor's Endless Army, so I think maybe Mike might have misinterpreted the rules a little bit. Or regardless, I think we're just gonna overlook that and continue on with the game.
Yeah, we can get some clarification later. Whenever Secret Hunter, I like Mike's idea here. There are a lot of new secrets, or like Auto Defense Matrix. I think that's a really solid new secret for Paladin. It's a very tricky secret to play around. Um, So having that in a mysterious challenger shell seems great. Seems pretty interesting.
Yeah, and it's just worth noting as well. This is a friendly game, and while normally such things might be a big deal, I think that in this case we'll be willing to overlook it as these are just exhibition games. But I will send a note to see if we need to take any action or corrective action for that. Maybe it's just my misunderstanding. I've had a long day and I'm tired as well, so I'm just going to quickly look at that deck list. Looks like we've got a pretty good start with the Control Warrior, getting a 1-drop, some removal tools, Bash, Brawl, Shield Slam, and of course the tank up from Baku. So, but a pretty good start.
Yeah, Eve playing a pretty traditional odd warrior here. So she has a nice opening curve. Odd warrior can even afford to miss a couple drops early just because of the power of uh, the powered up hero power. But
So
she does have a nice opening.
one of our spectators has kindly informed me that we did take the classic sets pre-format, Grand Tournament, Goblins versus Gnomes, etc., and allowed them for construction with this format. So actually, Mike's deck is perfectly fine. It's just my brain
Uh,
that's not working properly. So
okay, so they get
please
the early
disregard everything
expansion.
I said. Yeah. So my sincerest apologies to Mike when he watches this VOD and everyone who's spectating this game right now.
So Eve, she just wants to continue to armor up here. Do you think she plays a mind control tech out there, or she just saves it for the big secret mysterious challenger turn should it
Tanking
come?
tanking up every turn seems like a pretty good play, especially when you're not sure what you're playing against. Generally you don't always have to get value out of your cards, but in these kind of long grindy matchups, it does pay to play for value instead of tempo. So I think Eve's made a good choice here.
Yeah, and then especially with a deck like Odd Warrior, um, it has all the tools to deal with that big swing turn on turn 6 anyway. So I mean, she has a brawl.
So just
She has.
for clarification, the Kraken deck can run Naxxramas, the Mammoth deck can run Blackrock Mountain, and the Raven deck can run the Grand Tournament. So Mike is entirely correct again. I just wanted to clarify that if it was not clear. So again, TGT with Raven, Blackrock with Mammoth, and Nax with Kraken. Again, apologies for that slip up on my part.
Hey, you know what? It's late. You're allowed one of those, man.
Yeah, I have no excuse. It's late for me, but Mike, for Mike right now, it's 10 after 1. So, kudos to
But
him.
Mike is also. I believe Mike's a bartender as well, right? So he's used to playing at these late night hours.
I actually think he's a line cook. You mentioned that in our chat. So, I mean, that's hard work. So after putting in a shift on the line, you gotta credit his love for this league, the game, and everything he does. So a lot of
Definitely.
respect for that.
Yeah, he's one of the hardest working guys out there. He just and like you said, he just has the love for the game. Always trying to be a part of the community in whatever way he can. And then that turn, did he pass that turn? Mike choosing not to put anything on the board and pass the turn so that he can protect his secret package.
Yeah, and not get, I believe the minion also generates armor when it takes damage. So, trying to slow down that armor up gain that, could allow Dr. Evil to run away with the game. This is kind of an interesting matchup because if this was an aggro paladin, Eve would be in a great spot. But we see there's some value cards in Mike's deck, such as the weaponized pinata. No one can argue that it doesn't generate value. The Ysera, so some late game here in this kind of secret control paladin deck, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and then Mike is also running Kangor's Endless Army, so he's trying to build some really big mechs here. And I think perhaps that's why he opted not to play the War Gear, since he had no way to magnetize anything on the board. And Like here, it looks like he'll probably be able to magnetize this weaponized pinata the following turn. So
So what legend do you want to see out of this pinata? I'd like to see some Ragnaros the Light Lord. I feel like that was a good control paladin staple that just doesn't see play anymore just because, of power creep, meta, etc.
yeah, no, yeah, that's man. Honestly, that's one of the best paladin legendaries, isn't it? So
Happy Rag.
well, unfortunately, it's not going to die. It's going to come back, and Mike's going to be able to magnetize it a bit.
But the Death Rattle will still trigger, getting that legendary. So he's going to get two legendaries off that pinata. That is some real pinata value.
Oh, I
Uh,
love this deck, man.
yeah,
Oh god.
Elite Tauren Chieftain, like the ETC card. Very, very cool. For those who play Heroes of the Storm, the Elite uh, Tauren
The
Chieftain
chieftain.
resembles ETC, so pretty nifty call to another Blizzard game there.
Yep.
Yep, so as you predicted, there's that magnetize, and we're going to see that secret to back up. Man, this pinata is just not going away.
Man, it is doing work.
3 cards off of that pinata, unless it gets silenced. But, at this point, baiting the silence on the 3rd legendary is, or sorry, this would be the 2nd one, but still, that's something. Although Mike can't afford to keep trading blows with Dr. Evil like this, so he's going to have to answer that Baron Geddon eventually.
Yeah. And this is actually a good spot for Eve. Like she can shield slam, and even if it gets brought back, he has the end of turn effect from Baron Geddon to clear that board. Although it would be quite a few legendaries in Mike's hand, and with RNG, you never know.
Yeah, and while I was kidding about the Happy Rag before, some healing probably wouldn't be unwelcome. Oh, Mal'Ganis, that's not
Again,
healing, but that's a pretty scary looking legendary there.
definitely.
Grant him immunity and a buff to his demons. Who knows? Maybe we'll get another legendary demon off of the pinata for some warlock synergy. With weaponized pinata, anything's possible.
Oh, Medivh, wow.
That's a pretty good pick, actually. Although I don't know if he has too many spells that will.
Mike is under a lot of pressure here, though, so this is going to be an important turn. Oh,
Interesting. All right, opting just for the taunt to stave off the 7 to face this turn. Not unreasonable. There's nothing really to magnetize that too, so
and he does have noble sacrifice, so he can bait at least the super collider and force the Baron Geddon to attack into that, unless Eve just silences it. But we will see. Will she decide to put on more pressure with the silence?
looks like we're gonna see the opt of the bash. I guess.
That's a smart play.
Yeah, maybe Dr. Evil thinks that there's Tyrion in this deck, classic control paladin staple, and that would be a great target to silence. In these long grindy control matchups, you often have to think several turns ahead and consider playing to the bottom of a deck, right? So you want to line up your threats accordingly. Like for example, entombing Mal'Ganis. Even if you have another target to entomb, you'll wait the 6 turns to get rid of the Mal'Ganis so Gul'dan can't bring it back. Those types of considerations, which is why control decks are often trickier to play.
Man, Mike is stuck in a weird situation now. He has Mysterious Challenger, but he did play Liam the other turn, so he won't get any secrets off of the challenger.
Yeah, and this might be where the silence comes in. Oh no, we'll just see BGH, even better.
Wow, and that'll be game one. I think we have a bash there, right? Yeah, we do have a bash.
Yep, and with the Baron Geddon, that should trigger lethal.
Well played.
All right, well played. And Dr. Evil's going to take game one.
Yeah, that was a great game one. Both, I really liked Mike's deck. He didn't come away with the victory there, but Secret Paladin always got a close spot in my heart, and I love the weaponized pinata synergy there, and I love how he protected it well and got a lot of value out of it. Unfortunately, maybe he needed to trade off the Baron Geddon earlier because that it did get through for a lot of damage. So.
Yeah, it looked like Mike was trying to prioritize taking some of that armor down. I think that maybe he was afraid that if he kept, trading, um, he would never be able to break through. But it's tough leaving those big scary minions on the board. Do you think Mike's going to queue up that Paladin again, or do you think he's going to try his luck with one of his other classes that he brought?
I don't know. Maybe he'll try his luck just to showcase the other decks that are available. I mean, he's going to have to play all three to win anyway. But I like that deck. I want to see it one more time. So it'd be nice to see that deck. Well, we know for sure Eve can't play this. This is Conquest format. So she's obviously going to have to switch to one of her two other decks, which are Hunter or Priest. So that'll be fun.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and signal them to get into game two. So stand by, and we'll see if Mike opts to try that deck or something different.
Yep, I'm really excited to see Eve's her priest deck. I don't want to talk about those decks too much until we actually get into the games with them. But she brought a couple really interesting lists, and it should be fun. And Mike as well. Mike's mage list I think is very strong, and I think it matches up well versus both of Eve's remaining lists. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see what they queue up.
Yeah, and it'll be fun to see if we see more weaponized pinatas. In the last game earlier this evening, one player opted not to bring them, so this is an optional challenge. All right, game starting. We'll go ahead and get into game two.
Like weaponized pinatas. So Eve is bringing priest, and Mike has opted to change the deck to hunter. So this will be an interesting matchup, I think.
Yeah, we see the N'Zoth. So again, Mike's opting for a more top-heavy list, maybe a Death Rattle Hunter. Play Dead is a really awesome value card for Hunter. Very scary in the right situation. And we see with the Sylvanas that we might see some N'Zoth action in the priest that Dr. Evil opted to bring as well. And I'm going to peek here at the lists and cheat. And indeed, it does look like that does have a top end of N'Zoth. So it's the battle of the death rattles. And for those who are curious, indeed N'Zoth will bring back the weaponized pinata. So Dr. Evil really taking the optional challenge to heart.
Yep. Weaponized pinata, I was trying to mention a little earlier, is kind of like pineapple on pizza. Not everybody likes it, but it does add a special kind of flavor. You got to respect people who do that.
So pineapple on pizza was invented in Canada, by the way. And while I am not a fan of weaponized pinata, I am a fan of Hawaiian pizza. So just putting it out there. If someone wants to unfriend me or disown me, I'm not changing my ways. It's pineapple pizza Canadian pride right there.
So Eve decided to opt for Chill Maw. which is obviously the more consistent of the three options she had Nosdormu, and I actually forgot what the last dragon was. But
And it has Death Rattle, which synergizes with both
yeah,
the Death Rattle and Dragon game plans. So pretty good choice. And it also has that AoE. So if this is more of an aggressive hunter, which Doctor Evil, still doesn't know yet, could also be a potential board clear. So pretty cool. Pretty cool pick off that another Spite Historian. Doctor Evil's got a pretty nice curve. Draconid, Cabal, Shadow Priest, and then, the Chill Mob. Looking pretty scary, but Mike has some tools to disrupt that game plan. The
yes, he
Freezing
does.
Trap, and the Power Shot, I believe. Explosive Shot, excuse me. Hmm. I guess he didn't have a choice to go face. It's just with that Freezing Trap, now with all these small minions on the board, it's going to be hard to get value off that Freezing Trap, which means the big boys that are going to be coming down are going to be a little bit trickier to deal with. Um, you know, Mike's got some defensive tools: the Infested Tauren, the Belcher, the Snipe
Yeah,
to soften the minions. So, even though things are looking slightly favored for Dr. Evil, I don't think Mike's out of this by any stretch of the imagination.
the next two turns are going to be pretty integral, though, because Eve is playing dragons. They do tend to have a higher um, health pool, making Snipe not as strong as it would be versus other archetypes. And Doctor Evil, unbeknownst to Mike, Doctor Evil also has Cabal Shadow Priest, so
Mm.
there could be a big tempo switch in the next few turns, depending on how Mike plays out the next turn or two.
I think the Draconid Operative's the correct choice. This will give
Yeah,
information on Mike's deck and will also uh, potentially provide extra value. Pretty good picks: the Belcher, the Lotheb, and the Explosive Trap. Looks like Dr. Evil's going to opt for that Lotheb, synergizing with her Death Rattle strategy. Just kind of entrenching in that defensive hand.
yeah, definitely. And I think Draconid Operative is like always the right play, almost like in any situation of the game where you can play him. It's such a ridiculous card. Very, very strong priest card. I miss strong priest cards like that. They need to make another Drac OP in standard. That's what's missing from standard. More of those kinds of cards.
More broken dragons that see play
There
in
you
every
go.
priest deck. Well, I never was much of a priest player, but it was really Draconid Operative that inspired me to play the class and get my 500 ranked wins with priest. So Draconid Operative's got a special place in my heart. I remember before the last rotation, Gara, who's one of the hosts of the Value Town podcast, would go on rants about how strong Draconid Operative was. I think he said it was the best card in the game in that period of time in that format. So,
Oh, Mike's got a nice clear here.
yeah,
If he can play a snipe or a freezing trap out there.
I think that okay, a snipe's fine. Um, the freezing trap wouldn't trigger right away. Um, but I'm thinking that if a big minion comes down, he may not be able to play. He won't be able to play Belcher or Freezing Trap next turn. So I'm not sure what the correct choice is. I probably would have played the Freezing Trap, but I mean, I am no authority on these matters. But we'll see what. All right. Well, considering that's a Cabal Shadow Priest, even with an extended cost, we don't want to see that go back into anyone's hands. So I think
Yeah.
Mike was proven to make the correct choice here, and he should be able to clear this as well if he opts to play another secret or the coin.
Coin into Belcher, yeah.
Yeah, coin into Belcher
Yeah.
would be a strong tempo play. Um, just thinking his options over. You know, Belcher might be the obvious play. You can get 2 secrets instead. You know, misdirection could possibly disrupt Dr. Evil's game plan. Freezing is always annoying. I think Belcher is the right choice and probably what we'll see Mike play here. And there's the Belcher.
And Mike has got good pressure. Eve's at 11 already, so. But Eve has a bunch of late game plays here, so she's in a decent spot.
Yeah, never underestimate the priest's ability to stabilize and come back. Chilma is the first brick in that wall. Mike trying that faceless manipulator, you know, if he hangs on to that, he'll get some really good value out of that. Maybe copying Alex Straza or Ysera, some real choice targets.
Yep. And I think Mike is running Yogg Saron here, so I've always liked Yogg and Hunter. I always thought it was just a really fun type of pseudo win condition. So hopefully we get to see a Yogg, a big Yogg.
Yeah, I mean, before Deathstalker or XR existed, Hunter didn't really have a way of closing out games, and Yogg can just give you that little bit of extra reach that can close out the game in these situations. I mean, if Mike slammed down Yogg on curve and got a Pyroblast, this game would be over, but it's a big if. Well, that's looking like a pretty good card right now. Deadly Shot, 2 choice targets. Of course, if Sylvanas is hit by that Deadly Shot, excuse me, Mike will lose the Belcher, so he'll probably want to trade before playing it. I don't know if it's an opportune time for the Deadly Shot, but maybe I'm just greedy.
I mean, man, Sylvanas is such a like. I feel like you have to silence it, but
Just, I guess you could
I don't.
silence it, but
You could always copy it and then silence it,
copying it's
but
not terrible because with the N'Zoth, bringing back more Sylvanases in a value game is not terrible. You know, that line of play actually sounds pretty decent. The
the
copy
only
and
issue with
silence.
the only issue with silencing it is that I mean she will be able to play it again in the fact that it gets silenced. She can use it to check for the secret. Um, so
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, looks like Mike's gonna just opt to hit the steady shot.
See, I feel like in that situation, maybe he should have gone with the deadly shot in if he wasn't going to play the faceless, you know. But this is still not bad, and he's still got a lot of pressure on the board. So
Yeah, Dr. Evil's sitting on so much firepower right now, though, but a very precarious life total. Um, it's funny how these two hero powers seem to balance each other out. You know, if Mike finds a way to weave that hero power every turn, effectively
yeah,
puts Doctor Evil at 8 mana, making it harder to play. Well, I'm gonna opt to use the Alex Straza as a healing card. I guess heal back to 15, get an 8/8 on the board. No complaints there. And still holding on to a dragon to activate that AoE from Chilma. So now we can get that deadly shot value. Patience was rewarded.
yep.
We're gonna opt for the misdirection instead. Interesting. So 8 and 2 is 10. That'll put Dr. Evil to 3, but still not enough. And that assumes that she attacks before playing a minion. This might just, I think the misdirection will, take any target randomly. So I think Mike's going to find himself on the back foot pretty soon if he doesn't find a way to break through all this value and close out the game. What do you think Mike's line of play here is? I mean,
I think um, the best line of play is to actually hit the Lowe with the explosive shot. But I mean, there are like I mean, he could faceless onto the sludge belcher. Um, I don't know. This is he needs a real big power turn. He needs to get one of the later game cards like Nazoth or Yogg or maybe even a Sarah would be okay here.
and there's the misdirection, and it's going to trade. Nope, it's going to go face. That probably was the worst of the two options.
The good thing is he'll be able to likely will be able to clear this board.
And here comes the 8-mana Sylvanas. You know, I think that we've reached this point where Dr. Evil stabilized. Single-digit health total. I just don't see these cards being able to close out the game. We will get to kill the Sylvanas and clear with the explosive. Interesting. He's going to opt to copy the Belcher.
I think he can just play Pyro into explosive and then hero power. I think. Oh well, I guess he can't hero power, but
Yep, and that's the line of play that Mike opts for. I think that's a good choice. I mean, at this point, he needs to be keeping that board clear of threats. But you know, unfortunately, while Mike's been playing the role of the aggressor, I think this is the turn where those roles are going to flip.
yeah, you just drew that greater healing potion. That's huge. That's pretty much taking the past 4 turns of damage and resetting it. So Mike really needs to draw into one of his bigger bombs.
Yeah, I mean, Nazoth is probably the only really real card that could potentially hoist a comeback here. I'm going to opt to copy the 4/8 dragon. It's a good choice because it can't be removed by any of the pre-spot removal. Oh, the Mass Dispel, however, will punish.
Yeah, the one card, or the one of 2 cards, that and silence. So you know what? It's at this point in the match where we have to pray to Yogg.
Yep. Nazoth or Yogg. Nazoth to stall so you can draw the Yogg. That's kind of the... But at 20 health, like, will Yogg close the game out or generate enough value?
Oh yeah, maybe not. Probably not. This is looking a little rough, especially Mike. Eve still has Dragonfire Potion, so she has a lot
This,
of answers.
yeah, this highlights why Deathstalker Rexar is such a good card for Hunter. I mean, in this situation, you could be slamming a new zombies down every turn, and you know, with this earlier incarnation of Hunter, you just couldn't ask those questions. I mean, you see
Yeah.
Deathstalker Rexar going into even very aggressive Hunter lists because if you get to a point where you're past that early to mid game, like what else are you gonna do?
Yep.
Um,
I'll never tell.
But Mike's still
Still
in the
hanging
game.
on.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
he's not a
you know, he could top deck
dead
that
cat.
Nazoth or Yogg, and you know, it would certainly we'd have a game on our hands. But you know, Mike's in top deck mode, and Dr. Evil is still generating value with all of these awesome dragons. I can't imagine that. I think we're going to see Azera get picked. The other 2 cards, the Freezing Trap and the Secret Keeper, feel pretty meh. Although Dr. Evil already has a Ysera in hand, so kind of a whiff on that. Not that it really matters at this point.
And you know what we haven't seen yet is a mad scientist either.
Yeah, well, it could be the format, right? So, looking at the cards that are selected, um, the deck is from Kraken, which um, I don't think that one was paired with Max Ramus. Oh no, it is. There are two mad scientists in the list. Never mind. There I am, blowing the format rules again. Oh, Mike just got pretty unlucky with his draws, and there's the mad
Oh, there's a
scientist.
mad
A
scientist.
little late to the party. I think that would have
Yeah.
been we would have been happier to see a Yogg or an Azoth. You got to admire his tenacity. I probably would have rage quit already by now. This is a good lesson to those who are viewing that sometimes this kind of persistence is rewarded. Sometimes the craziest thing could happen and the game can turn on a dime. Even if it's unlikely, it's still within the realm of possibility. That
Yeah,
is.
he's not dead yet. Like like we all know that Yogg is the out here. Like it's the only out he has.
Oh, and
So, oh well,
there's
there's
an
an
Azoth.
Azoth. So.
Can get some taunts up.
No,
Would he would really have mattered to get another mad scientist? Maybe. So we got 3 taunts on the board. The Dragon Fire Potion, however, is gonna clean this up pretty handedly.
well he's still at one. So, oh wait, no, I yeah, that's game. There's a shadow word pain in hands. So,
Mm, yep, there's the pain. Looks like Dr. Evil's gonna take this slow. No point in rushing it. Nope, never mind. There's the Dragon Fire. Mop up this board.
well played.
And we're gonna find lethal.
That was a good match.
Yeah, I feel bad. Mike didn't get his early game pressure, and it kind of cost him. He wasn't able to close out that game, and if he had gotten those mad scientists and secret keepers earlier on, he was about at 1.6 damage away from closing that
Yeah,
out. That would have been it.
yeah, and it was kind of weird too in a way because um, I feel like Mike was always playing behind, even in the beginning. Like he had pressure, but I felt like he was trying. Like I felt like Eve had him on a clock because Eve was playing, uh, you know, tracking it OP, chill mall, like bomb after bomb after bomb, and like the quality of cards. Mike just couldn't keep up with that. Like he really needed either those late game cards, he either needed to top deck those late game cards or he really needed the secret keepers and earlier plays like Mad Scientist at any point in the game, which he didn't get till like the way end. And but Eve just had a great hand, like a good value hand, a great curve, um, and she was able to ride just that nice curve of plays, and everything played like perfectly into her board. So yeah, that was a good game.
Yeah, I'm not a super big fan of the hunter class. I mean, I don't have anything against it per se. I just feel like Mike's experience is my experience when I play the class. Even, we look at the new secret hunters that are fairly meta right now on Wild Ladder presently. I just always feel like I run out of gas, and then my value is just not enough to close out the game. Like Deathstalker XR is an awesome card, but a lot of these decks just have so many answers to the questions that card can ask that it's tough. It just doesn't have that reach.
Yeah, yeah. I really it just doesn't have enough gas, right? Like you said, it doesn't have enough draw mechanics, like unless you're running Jeeves or something. Um, and it doesn't really have the greatest reach unless you're running like kill command, going full beast, or uh, you know something of that nature. It's I think in that game we saw where Hunter struggles the most. When you get a hand that's not ideal but playable, and then you just run out of gas early, and I think that was the issue. But we'll see. We'll see. Mike still has a two, maybe has a couple more games he can play Hunter, and maybe do better with it. So he's not totally out yet. It's only 2-0. So
So I have sent the signal for them to start. So I think we'll see game 3 start shortly. This is it for Mike, so I think he's going to need to bring the deck he feels, best about.
yeah,
Matchup being considered. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Unfortunately, my blessing or curse, whereby every game I cast went to game 5, seems to have been firmly broken. So I'm not going to prophesize that Mike's going to have a comeback based on that alone. But knowing that Dr. Evil's got one deck choice left. In this case, the her hunter, he can pick accordingly to try to counter that and set himself up in a position where maybe he can reverse sweep.
yeah. And I think Mike will definitely. The tricky thing is, I think Mike is really seasoned in turn. I believe that Mage is his best class. Freeze Mage, Combo Mage. That's the deck that he's most comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a tough thing. Like, do you start off with the deck that you play the best, and then lose that deck, and then you're forced to try to win with your other two decks that you've already lost with, or do you play one of these two decks that you've already lost with, see what the deck is that Eve has last, and win that game and then counter pick versus it? I don't know. It's kind of a weird situation.
In that sense, I would actually pick the deck that I felt most comfortable with because right now, after 2 wins, you're feeling pretty good. So you want
Mhm.
to try to get that momentum on your side and save your worst for last because if you manage to pull off a reverse sweep, your opponent might become a little bit more frustrated, tilted, and kind of give you that edge from a mindset perspective. But we're going to get into game right away here, and Mike did bring his mage.
You asked for it.
So it looks like Mike agreed with my assessment. He brought the deck that he was most comfortable with, the deck that he feels lines up the best into the class. Looks like Dr. Evil's playing a Death Rattle Hunter. Play dead, we see the Charged Devil Source, so some synergies maybe with Carnivorous Cube to get chargy boys in. Um,
Mhm.
you know, this is interesting. I don't know how this is going to go because we don't see Freeze Mage that much on ladder anymore, especially a traditional build like Mike has brought. Will the Hunter have enough burst, or will, the Ice Blocks, the Frost Novas, the Blizzards, the annoying stall tools that Freeze Mage brings to the party, will it be enough to stall? So this is going to be a cool game.
I I don't know if Mike brought Ice Block, but I guess I was it not in this Mammoth set. I don't remember,
So
but
Ice Block is
um,
classic, and classic cards are allowed in all of the lists.
Hello.
I'll check right now. So you are right, there are no ice blocks. Interesting. I I don't know what to say. Well, that's something we're gonna have to ask him if if Mike's still gonna be awake once this game's over,
yeah,
as it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning for him.
Ice Block is a considerably strong card.
Mind if I
But
fill Need's
that this deck is proven to be good even without it. So we'll see.
Yep, ice block is busted, and that's why it was
Yeah,
Hall of Famed. I'm just surprised because this is such a traditional freeze mage. You got the Thorison, you got the Acolytes, you see the Nova. Like that's classic freeze mage territory, and it's one of my favorite decks that I used to play a lot as well. Ice block feels so essential, so be interesting to see. Pretty slow start from Dr. Evil here. Candle shot's good for cleaning up those early minions, but I guess with the card whose name I cannot recall, the stalker. Um, she's not going to want to play that though. Maybe she'll,
Terraskin.
maybe she'll tempo that out. Hard to say. I mean, you kind of don't want to cede pressure to this deck, so unless something good comes off the top, I think that's the line of play that we're likely going to see.
I think Eve had an interesting choice to make on that Stitch tracker. Did she go? She went with King Crush, which is just more damage for her later. But she also had Void Terror, the guy that switches health and damage, and she had Prince Keliseth as her options, and she opted for the bigger late game card. So this is an interesting choice. I mean, all three were really good choices. I think Keliseth just strengthening what is nearly a full set of cards in the deck, and the Void Terror to deal with Doomsayers and a frozen board. So she had a tough decision to make there.
You think we're going to see a turn 5 tempo Tyrion? I think we are.
I think you got to. I think this is wild. There's only one way to play the game. I mean, he could go Acolyte with Ping, which would be good too.
Oh man, that is a question that's going to have to be answered, or this game's going to be over real quick. I think that there are lots of answers in hand. I mean, the candle shot could pop the bubble right away. That's probably a no-brainer considering there's another candle shot in hand.
I mean, I think Eve just passes the turn or just hero powers and then just plays Sylvanas Coin Feign Death or something.
Oh yeah. Not a terrible idea, although then probably shouldn't have popped the Divine Shield, huh?
That's true, but maybe she's just playing safe, especially assuming that Mike drops an Emperor or an Acolyte of Pain or something.
Yep, reasonable line. The 3/3 contest the 6/3. And Dr. Evil's got that Sylvanas play dead for the next big threat that hits the board. Emperor probably being one of them. I can't think of any other big threats actually in the deck. Alexstrasza. Usually these freeze mage lists run Alex as the means of just cutting the life total in half and allowing for that fireball, frostbolt OTK. Well, it's not an OTK. Usually it's over 2 turns.
Mike's in a pretty good spot though. He has, he's not really staring down a bunch of pressure from Eve yet.
Nope.
He's drawn some important cards for winning the game.
Yeah, the card that I'm looking at in Dr. Evil's hand that makes me nervous for Mike is that Rag. I mean, Rag's going to hit the board and it's going to start doing big damage, and there's no obvious way to clear it unless you kind of YOLO Doomsayer and hope that, Rag won't pick it off. But, that's going to be next turn. Unless it gets coined. It can't get coined. Dr. Evil's on 6 mana. I gotta fix my overlay so we can see how many mana crystals Dr. Evil has. Apologies for that. So there's the Sylvanas.
Man, what do you do here? I don't know.
I mean, you can just use the Ashbringer to clear off the Sylvanas. Card draw, not a terrible idea. Get more answers, more value off Thorson.
I mean, you only need 3 fireballs, right? So, like, because you can swing with the Ashbringer to the face.
With the Simulacrum, I wonder if there's an OTK option in this deck as well.
Oh, snap. This is a good play. This is a smart play. Oh, I thought he would swing into the Sylvanas and give Dr. Evil, the Doomsayer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But now the Doomsayer stays out and kind of blocks the turn. Oh, but
Yeah.
we got eggs. Eggs incoming. So we're gonna get a 5/5 Dino Boy out. So a new threat to deal with, but you know, keeping that threat to 1 shouldn't be the end of the world.
Yeah.
So the question
Mike's in a
is, going into
good spot.
yeah, with turn 8's a big turn. Katharina, Ragnaros, you know, the questions are gonna get harder to answer for Mike.
Yeah, but does Mike just win here? Like, can he just play
I don't know.
Emperor and then? Well, he needs to simulacrum or copy the Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, I mean, like he's gonna be able to pull this off if you know these threats keep getting answered.
kind of. Well, how many cards has he got? 4, 8. I kind of feel you play Arcane Intellect and just swing for the face, or clear the board. But I mean, you can swing for the face, and then next turn you can play Emperor plus Frost Nova, and then you got a bunch of spells that you can play.
He's just gonna pitch the Frost Nova to clear up space in his hand. Wow. I wonder what Dr. Evil's thinking. He's probably thinking, man, he's got a handful of dangerous stuff. And there's the Winter Wisp, Katharina. Gonna get some value off of that. Start trying to build a board that can close this game out in a turn.
And this is a big turn because...
Oh man, there's the Chargy Boy. So, I think you got a Blizzard here. With the cube and the 3/3, that's gonna get Dr. Evil 2 more Chargy Boys.
What to do? What to do?
Man, I feel like Mike, he needed that Frost Nova. He needed that Frost Nova for this turn.
Yeah, he didn't want to overdraw. That's why, because with the Thalnos out, I don't think that's gonna be enough because. I mean, with the cube and triggering its death rattle, we're going to get 2 more 7/7 charges. And it's going to put Mike to 1. And with the candle shot, that's game.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's it. That's lethal. Right? You cube the... Oh, no.
Oh,
I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome. But, but this could have been over this turn, right? If
Oh, another Charge Devil Sire? Yep.
Oh, well, never mind. Found another way to to do it. Yeah, maybe you know, knowing
those are the only 3 beasts she had, right?
So yeah, knowing the beasts in the deck, there were multiple paths to victory, and Dr. Evil certainly found it, and we're gonna see a sweep and maybe a new trend started tonight because both games that I've casted have been full sweeps, and it's not a trend that I like. So Jellycat was blaming me for this earlier, and I refused. I blamed it on weaponized pinata, but he might have been right. Maybe the blessing of game 5s has been replaced with the curse of sweeps.
Yeah, I know, and you know, and Dr. Evil is now 4-0 in the league. She's won every week.
Nice.
So
wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll get to see her in the playoffs if things keep going. I'm gonna ask if they want to do a quick call with us. I know it's late.
Yeah. Just a recap while Blue Train sets us up. Dr. Evil was able to take the set 3-0 versus Mike Lowe, the commissioner of the UHL. Just a good all around good guy. The first match, Mike brought his Paladin deck, but that was usurped by Odd Warrior from Dr. Evil. And in the second match, Mike brought his Yogg Nazoth Hunter, uh, which was beaten by just a stronger curve with Dr. Evil's Nazoth Priest deck, Dragon Priest. And then in the final game that you just saw, Mike's combo mage was out pressured by Dr. Evil's Hunter, Beast Hunter, Death Rattle Hunter deck. So it was a good set.
So everyone is going to join us in for a quick post-game chat. I'm going to go ahead and bring them online. So please bear with me for a moment while I go ahead and set that up. I'll be right back. All right.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for joining.
Hi.
And
Yo.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Is Mike in here?
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, your mic's working. Good.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, good games.
Yeah, great games. Appreciate it. That was fun.
That was fun. I was kind of bummed though. I had the pinata in my priest deck and I never drew it. I was a little bummed.
Yeah.
That pinata thing is ridiculous.
What legendaries did you get off of it?
I got
in that paladin game.
Was it Mal'Ganis?
Oh yeah, that's right.
ECT, the chieftain.
Oh yeah, I got the chieftain. I was like, I'm not playing this.
So
Sounds like we're
No
gonna
way.
see it. I don't even remember what cards he gives you or what he does. But I was like, oh man.
So full
That's awesome.
disclosure, I am in the anti-pinata camp. I am not a fan, but Mike, I got to give you credit. The synergy that you had with the secrets that kept bringing it back at 1 health,
Yeah.
like that was some real value. That was some fine pinata play. It's too bad that that it gave you some wonky stuff, but that was pretty fun to see.
Yeah, it made
Yeah.
up for it. You got that 5 mana Tyrion, so
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
the tempo Tyrion.
Yeah, Temple Tyrion. That was amazing. Right on curve. I was like, such skill.
Easy.
No, that was a great set. I appreciate the match, Taylor. Great time.
Yeah, what was that, just like a Reno mage that you were playing? I couldn't tell.
Oh, it was literally
Like a
Exodia Mage
NCK?
minus
Oh.
minus the Hall of Fame cards.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank God. Okay, cool.
because
Yeah,
it's
so
literally it all falls within the format
Mm-hmm.
of
Yeah. Good. I'm glad I didn't die in 1 turn.
it was looking pretty close. Those chargy
Was
boys.
I
and
almost dead?
I think so. Those charged devil swords and king crushes certainly turned the tide really quickly. I was
Yeah,
surprised
no.
actually. I was hoping Mike was going to get the comeback because it seems that I'm cursed to be casting sweep matches tonight, and this is a trend that I don't like to see.
Oh man.
But in that
No.
the final game. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead. Go for it.
I was gonna say that Katharina into the King Crush and the Devil Sword. That was clutch. Like that was exactly what you needed to end the match. That was perfect.
Yeah, I got lucky there. I feel like every time
Yeah,
I play
that's crazy.
Katharina, I like draw all my beasts in my hand, and I never get to pull them out of the deck. So having
They
she
did it
worked out
tonight.
for me.
Right on stream. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. Some
Last
good
game,
games.
you had that Stitch tracker.
Mhm.
Did you know, or what did you think Mike was playing at that point? And I mean, why did you decide to go for the King Crush over the Keliseth or the Void?
Well, Keliseth
Terror
won't
at the time.
activate because I have Keliseth already in the deck. So
That's a good point.
yeah, so like it would just be a
That's
2/2.
smart. That's smart.
Yeah, and then the what was the other one? The Void Ripper.
Yeah, Void Ripper. Oh, there you go. That's his name. Void
Yeah,
Ripper.
I don't know. I didn't want it.
A good-
I
good
feel like
reasoning.
having 2 King Crushes would be pretty good. And plus he's golden, so it just looks better.
Yeah, that's easily
That's
a
my
good reason to
logic.
pick something
Very good logic.
It
shiny.
I need to
looks
write that
pretty,
down.
pick it.
So how did you guys
How about you,
find
Mike?
the? Oh, sorry, Ken, go for it.
We were gonna ask the same question. We finish each other's sentences. So. But Mike, yeah, how did you go about picking the decks that you chose? Like, why did you go for this format?
Taylor probably took it more serious than me. I literally just picked 3 random classes, and then I was like, how can I fit these classes in the format? I was thinking one class will have a Death Knight. Another class I can go like mech type Boomsday, Witchwood stuff. I was gonna do Big Spell Mage, but then literally an hour before the match, I realized I could do Exodia Mage and just minus the Hall of Fame cards.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to actually use the Death Knight, but still a fun time. Like I enjoy the league. I'm glad to be in the league because you can use like all the cards. I've been playing this game for 4 years, so it's cool to be in a league where all my cards can be played. So that's where I finally enjoy getting to pick the random cards and use them.
I was really hoping to see the Yogg. I really wanted to see the Yogg in the
Oh,
hunting.
you were playing Yogg Hunter?
I had Yogg Hunter. Oh my goodness.
Okay, yeah. I kind of thought maybe you had Yogg in that deck with all the spells.
Yeah, that was the old
Nice.
gods.
Turns,
Yeah, that
man.
was the
We were like,
Kraken.
okay, 11 turn 11. Oh, there's 11 cards left. Okay, there's 9 cards left. Where's the Yogg?
For real.
God.
That'd been awesome.
I probably would have died to Yogg too, some random way.
For you, Eva, how did you decide on those decks?
I thought this week was actually pretty hard because trying to figure out like which cards are from like what sets was kind of difficult. Kind of like piece together what cards to fit in what deck. I don't know. I had a really hard time like figuring out what to play. So I actually took a few days to kind of prepare and kind of play around with decks and cards. Whereas for like the past few weeks, I just kind of threw like decks together like an hour before my match. But this time I actually kind of sat down and wrote out everything. And I had bounced around like a couple different ideas. Like I was originally going to bring like Jade Cthulhu Druid. And I don't know. I really don't know.
It was even hard to cast. Like the first game, I forgot that the grand tournament was allowed with the Year of the Kraken. I was like, oh no, did Mike not have the right?
Yeah.
Did he mix it up? And then Itinerant Wizard PM'd me. He's like, no, he's good. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I don't even know the format I'm casting. So when trying to build those decks, I imagine that it would have been hard to piece together.
Straight.
Yeah, so
and I had to go through like all my decks like to make sure I didn't like have cards from other sets and then get like banned or something. Kind of paranoid about that, but
and it's pretty late.
It really
too,
hurt me.
especially for
It
you
really
guys,
hurt.
So.
It really hurt my soul to have to click Ice Block and take it out of my deck because it's Hall of Fame. I was like, yeah, because the format.
I think it was allowed in the format.
Yeah,
Hall
to
of Fame
say, I think they said we could. I hope I used Hall of Fame card.
Yeah, you had the Sylvanas and the Rag, and
yeah, I'm pretty sure we were allowed to.
Yeah, I don't think.
I
was playing it safe. See, I was playing it safe, so I was playing hardcore mode. I didn't
need a rematch then.
It's a lesson because I kept talking about that. Like, there's no ice block. Where's the ice block? That's the best card in the deck, and so I think maybe regardless of whether you were allowed Hall of Fame or not, I believe you were, but that might be a lesson learned to maybe pin the rules or do a better job of broadcasting the rules. I know it was a little bit hectic trying to figure out the format. As challenging as it is to build decks for these challenge weeks, coming up with the ideas is tricky as well because not everyone has all the cards, and you want something that's engaging. And the guys that run the leagues, whether it's UHL or the Into the Wild League, I give you guys credit. It is more work than anyone could ever possibly imagine, trying to organize people and submit ideas. And everybody loves to tear ideas down, but it coming up with them is really hard. So I salute you.
Yeah,
shout out to Nate for that because he does so much for this Wild League.
Yeah, Nate,
I know he does all the behind the scenes stuff. And I'm sure he probably stresses out a lot about all this, but he's done a good job, and I've had a lot of fun playing in this league so far. So I'm excited to see how the rest of it turns out.
Yeah, I just want to
Absolutely.
follow that point and say, I've been doing commissioner for 45 days now. I can understand all the work that Nate's doing. He's shown me and let me see some stuff that he's been working on. I know he stays up late working on logos, helping people out, in other discords. So I just want to give a shout out to Nate for putting this league together. And the rules could be fine. It could just be me. I'm just doing so much. I didn't happen to actually notice that, so I don't want to put it on the league. I'll say it's me. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to the league. Shout out to all the casters, all the players, all the viewers. This is a great time. I love it.
The show. And thank you all for staying up so late to cast our games. It's kind of like the time we kind of picked. I know it's late and stuff. Y'all are probably tired, but
I hope you guys keep picking this time. This is like the only time I can cast.
oh really? Okay, so
I
it
love
worked
it.
out.
So keep
Yeah.
doing like every week this particular time. This is perfect for me.
That's
I'm
awesome.
loving it. So
Well, I don't want to keep you guys. So before we wrap up, do you guys have any shout outs, things you'd like to promote, things that you want to share with our viewers? Mike, maybe we can start with you.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter and Twitch at ML Streams. Also, I run the United Hearthstone League. Follow the league at United HS League on Twitter and UnitedHearthstoneLeague.com.
All right. And then I just have a Twitter. My Twitter is twitter.com/Dr. Evel_HS. And you can follow me and all my escapades on there. And I just got a new pug puppy, and she's adorable. And I named her Aya Blackpaw. And so you can
That's
check
an
out
awesome name.
you can check out my Twitter, and I'm going to be posting tons of pictures of her. So,
it's awesome.
yeah. And thank you guys for again casting and everyone who came to watch.
Oh, it is a privilege to cast your games. So just before we wrap, there are going to be 2 games tomorrow at 10:30 Pacific in the morning and 1:30 in the afternoon Eastern. We have Craig of Canada versus Matt of Arms. And later that evening at 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern, we have Nate versus Wildcard, the league organizers going face to face. That should be a fun one. That's going to be casted by Saucy Mailman and Wicked Goods. That's going to be a lot of fun. Those two are really great at casting, and
Yes.
that's at a prime time. So be sure to tune in for both. So with that, we'll leave it there. I want to thank Mike and Dr. Evel for putting up a great set and being great sports, and Ken Sanity for casting with me. It's a pleasure as always. We'll leave it there. Thank you, everyone, and have a great night or
All right.
morning.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thank you.